They move with terrifying speed, providing unwavering support to their comrades. A Northern Army soldier, mauled and grievously wounded, collapses. Immediately, his comrade uses a technique to heal his wounds. Jun Ji watches the scene unfold, his face darkening as he thinks, "Now I understand." Brave warriors face off against ferocious mercenaries. Savage aquatic monsters claw and attack the Northern Army relentlessly. These are the lowest-ranking soldiers in the mighty Northern Army. The young man calmly observes, meticulously analyzing the situation. This display of composure reassures the other hunters. It bolsters their morale, knowing their guild's sacrifices are being acknowledged. Jun Ji confidently raises his hand, summoning his weapon. He manifests a spear and a sturdy shield, taking a defensive stance, ready for battle. His eyes sharp and filled with killing intent. "Better than I expected," he thinks to himself. His expression hardens, his gaze resolute and determined. "I will begin my attack." Chong watches as Jun Ji charges into the fray. He observes silently. Images of Jun Ji's past flash through his mind. With a look of intense, the Northern Army acted precisely on the orders received. After a period of discreetly observing the mysterious man, Supreme Commander Choi Yongsong and Deputy Commander Choi Jun-soo secretly approached the target, one of the men he was watching. Jang thought to himself, he's not wrong. The Northern Army is incredibly brutal. If this continues, countless hunters and soldiers will die. A memory flashed back. Chairman Go-gun, he clapping him on the shoulder. "I have complete faith in your loyalty and integrity." Jang began to feel confused and anxious. "I'm sure the commander has a plan. If it's the Chairman Go-gun, I know." Those around him gasped in astonishment. "What's happening to that guy?" "Incredible." Chong was startled by the sudden cheers. Jun Zhong's lightning-fast attacks. Each strike incinerated the enemy. They panicked, chattering in fear. "Who is that hunter? Is he sent to clear this gate? What's his name? I'm sure I've seen the names of all the hunters here before." Intact suddenly realized. Has he become this strong already? Yun Gun swung his spear, effortlessly slicing through the enemy's bodies. Just 10 days ago, he was an even match for me. But now, the image of his powerful, crimson eyes made attack freeze. Could it be? Has he surpassed me? A notification appeared. The monster wave has ended. You will have a moment to rest. Several sponsors wish to reward your avatar. More notifications continue to pop up. The fallen angel is pleased with your performance. Your stats have increased. You have earned the title Mermaid Hunter. Your ability score has increased. Your attribute scores have significantly increased. Your abilities have been markedly improved. Jun Jiayong slowly returned to his normal state, his face covered in sweat. The system notification window suddenly appeared, emphasizing, "The patron god of spears is watching you. The symbol of circular objects has been conquered by you. The Lord of the Swamp is hostile towards you." Jun Jiayong was startled to realize that many powerful sponsors were observing him. "I might receive tremendous support," he thought to himself, "just like those legendary heroes." Jun Jiayong was lost in thought when the system notification window suddenly responded. "Fallen Angel has expressed dissatisfaction. The sponsors interested in you have withdrawn." Jun Jiayong was stunned, not understanding what was happening. What the hell is going on? His teammates ran towards him, excitedly thanking him. Chai Yun and Hyen Song curiously asked, "Who are you really? Where do you come from? Are you a member of any association?" Chairman Jun sternly replied, his voice filled with authority. "This isn't over yet. Countless more attacks are still to come. Everyone needs to urgently and thoroughly prepare. Don't be careless. That hell gate has only opened a crack. Don't you want to survive?" They all raised their hands, their eyes filled with determination. "We understand. We'll start recovering our strength immediately." Everyone turned and quickly left. Only CEO Ion remained. His face darkened with a grim expression. His face was filled with rage, anger boiling inside. Chairman Jun looked up, a knowing smirk playing on his lips. "I'm certain he's plotting something sinister, waiting for the right moment to strike down all the hunters here. I will completely crush his scheme. Given enough time, all the hunters will bow before me." Chairman Jun silently gave commands in his status screen, his face filled with excitement, and, "I've reached level 24. This harsh gate will become a solid foundation for my exponential growth. I must reach level 30 here. Look at those teammates. These hunter warriors will always be by my side. The next moment, the monsters attacked with jets of water, blasting him into the air. Junjong charged with all his might, his eyes blazing crimson, rushing forward. He swung his sword, cleaving their bodies in two. The system notification appeared. The fourth wave has ended. You'll have a short time to rest. Junjong paused, quickly wiping the sweat from his brow. He gasped in horror as he saw his teammates. They began to collapse, succumbing to their injuries. Damn it, for half fallen. Will we be able to make it back alive? Yoongyung's face darkened utterly tense. It seemed impossible, but I want to survive. I don't want anyone else to fall. He clenched his. June roared in fury. Why? Why is it only the Northern Army that has to fight? The officer stammered. WH, what are you talking about? June glared at him with sharp eyes and shouted. Do you take us for fools? I know your scheme. Always hiding behind the lines. Preserving your own forces. Cheon, Yunyong, and Hanseong spoke up in unison, voicing their discontent. That's right. If he thinks that, it must be true. Not a single soldier from the Northern Army has died. They haven't even been injured. June growled, emphasizing each word. At least fight fairly. You sit there and watch these hunters sacrifice their lives for you and feel no shame? Jiangsu anxiously approached him, asking, Commander, are you all right? He gritted his teeth, thinking, my plan has failed. The commander frowned, lost in thought. After weathering those intense storms, by exploiting the weaker members of the guild, along with those hunters, my initial plan was to launch a surprise attack on them. But now, the plan has completely failed. The Northern Army soldiers are drowning in confusion and fear. They've realized they're nothing but expendable pawns. In the lower ranking, soldiers are starting to waver, their resolve crumbling. A murderous intent burns brightly in Ion Song's grim face. The plan he laid out for me was a scheme to benefit that bastard. John Su spoke, his voice a soft reply. But are we just going to continue like this? Just observe a little longer. Outwardly, Ion Song appears calm. But inside, he's harboring dark schemes. With the power he's displayed so far, the gap between us is too vast. Can I possibly control him? His face was contorted, radiating pure malice. Furthermore, he's wasting his energy pointlessly fighting on the front lines. All talk and no action. You'll pay for this with your life. A notification suddenly popped up. The fifth wave of monsters has changed course towards the coast. Something unusual is about to happen. System announcement. Mid-level boss has appeared. A colossal sea monster of astonishing size was approaching. They screamed in panic. Sea monster? What the hell is that? Its size is terrifying. It gathered all its strength, preparing to unleash a devastating attack. The sea monster erupted a massive column of water. Jun Ji yelled a warning. It's attacking. Everyone get out of the way. Everyone quickly sought cover, dodging the monster's terrifying attack. The monster continued its rampage, firing massive water spouts. Hence gasped in astonishment. What is that? Its destructive power is incredible. His comrades quickly notched their arrows, aimed, and prepared to attack. A volley of arrows flew through the air, aimed directly at the colossal sea monster. Countless arrows pierced the terrifying creature's body, but it seemed to have no effect. Undeterred, they pressed forward, their hands gripping sharp spears. The monster roared furiously, clenching its massive fist, preparing to counterattack. A hand as large as a boulder slammed down with terrifying force. They risked their lives, slashing at the monster's hand, screaming, "Take this!" With a casual flick of its wrist, the monster sent the brave warriors flying like ragdolls. Fear began to creep into their eyes. Our attacks are useless. We can't hurt it, one exclaimed in despair. Damn it, what are we going to do? Another shouted anxiously. Jun Jiang, gripping his spear tightly, charged forward with all his might. A brilliant red aura ignited, engulfing his entire body. Jun Jiang moved with incredible speed, like a red lightning bolt tearing through the night. He leaped into the air, his spear raised high and blazing, descending like a falling star. The spear point aimed directly at the sea monster's head, poised to deliver a fatal blow. The devastating attack contorted the monster's face in agony. The colossal sea monster crashed to the ground, while Jun Jiang landed gracefully. Cheon Yang and Hyen Song watched in stunned silence, their jaws agape. Amazing. That hunter, He's just an AI. How could he possibly do something so incredible? Junji turned around, his face serious, and commanded, "The spatial gates are overflowing with magical energy right now. Don't try to suppress the power surging within you. Unleash your full potential. Use your magic to enhance your weapons." The archer, hearing this, was astonished, thinking to herself, "Channel magical energy into weapons. Isn't that a skill only high-ranking hunters can perform? Or maybe I should just try doing what he said." She focused her mind, channeling magic into her bow. A look of excitement spread across her face. All right, the arrows, now imbued with a powerful energy, flew straight towards the aquatic monster. The attack actually wounded the beast. They cheered excitedly. "Our attack is working." Junji narrowed his eyes, his face tense. The losses were mounting, but none of it seemed to faze the ferocious monster. The spear in his hand began to emanate a mystical energy. A system notification suddenly appeared. Muspelheim's spear is absorbing the flames. Junji raised his spear, ready to unleash the decisive blow. To destroy this demon, he thought to himself, I must destroy its magic core, the source of its power. He suddenly stopped, his expression intensely focused. Not yet. I need to wait a little longer. The sea monster was gathering energy, preparing for a ferocious attack. Everyone cried out in panic. Damn it! Is that monster going to use its breath of destruction again? Dodge! Hurry! Resolute thoughts, filled with determination, flashed in the sharp eyes of Junji. Now's our chance, he thought. The only chance we have to defeat this monster. Incredible. The moment its weakness was exposed, he immediately launched the spear towards the aquatic monster with lightning speed. The powerful attack pierced straight through the monster's body. The system notification panel lit up repeatedly. You have successfully defeated the mid-level boss. Sponsors are watching your every move. Several sponsors are extremely impressed with your performance. A special sponsor is exceptionally interested in one of you. Jun Jiang raised his hand, signaling to recall his weapon. The muspel spear began to spin back towards him. Jun Jiang firmly grasped the spear. He looked at the spear with pride in his eyes. The muspel spear's automatic return ability after being upgraded was truly incredibly convenient. Everyone stared at him in stunned silence. One of them suddenly spoke, as if remembering something. That's right, I remember now. There's a rumor about a mysterious hunter wielding a spear and a large shield, he said, leaving Cho Enzo and Hansel utterly speechless. A super rookie. He's a true super rookie. Cho Enzo vehemently protested. Are you crazy? He's a true hero. Could he be close to reaching A rank? Everyone cheered, raising their hands in celebration. We're saved. Have faith in our super rookies, eh? A system notification appeared. You have been promoted. You have achieved A rank for defeating the Aqua Monster. You have received the Water Orb. Title, Aqua Slayer. Your stats have been increased. The fallen angel has smiled upon you. Several sponsors are watching and have expressed interest in you. Jun cheered with delight as he witnessed. Finally, we've attracted the attention of many powerful sponsors. The system panel flashed red, signaling danger. The fallen angel felt a surge of resentment. The other sponsors seemed to have lost all interest in him. He cursed under his breath. Damn it. Fortunately, this player's abilities are truly exceptional. Jun-Ki looked up with a calm, indifferent expression. Well, even the Demon King never had this much sponsor support. That guy is truly extraordinary. He didn't receive support from many sponsors, but his power was still earth-shattering. The Demon King was even more formidable than I am now. Jun gritted his teeth, trying to contain his rage. How did he become so powerful? In such a short amount of time, I don't think his power is just B rank. A flicker of fear crossed his eyes. But what I've witnessed suggests he's already reached A rank. Gritting his teeth, CEO Ion roared, leaped Jun Jiang's name in fury. In Trang stepped forward, intervening, Chairman, we need to leave here immediately. He explained that the recent events were all part of his plan. What? You can't just stand by and watch any longer. CEO Ion glanced at Trang with a stern expression. Trang continued to urge him. If your plan isn't going as expected, you need to devise another one and focus on executing it. Trang's eyes lit up with hope, and moreover, give it up. He gritted his teeth, rage burning in his chest. You want me to let Zhang go? CEO Ion roared, putting all his force into the shout. Preposterous. Do you think I'm a failure? I built, created, and resurrected the Northern Army. And now, I'm about to become the pillar of this world, a solid foundation for all mankind. Do you think I will let all of this slip away so easily? He summoned his weapon, gripping it tightly. He roared, a sound that shook the heavens, turning towards the Northern Army Guild. The silver-haired veteran general pointed his sword towards the vast sky, his command ringing out with finality. We will use all our might to cleanse this foul dimensional gate. The entire Northern Army instantly surged with power, their fighting spirit blazing. His brutal, bloodthirsty nature gradually revealed itself. The pride of an emperor made him unwavering in the face of anything. Suddenly, the CO glanced down and spotted Intrang's hat lying silently on the ground. The hat was left abandoned, like a silent farewell. Memories of a past conversation suddenly flooded his mind. I want you to take the position of vice guild leader. The CEO, years younger, said to Intrang with a smile. But with your kind demeanor, I'm afraid you'll have to put in some effort to control the more stubborn members of the guild, to keep them in line. That's why I've prepared this. He fell silent, lost in thought. So, the dog has come back to bite its master. Commander E viciously ground the hat under his heel. He glanced around, his eyes filled with contempt as he looked down at the troops gathered on the shore. A bunch of fools marching to their deaths. General Bootgun roared with powerful energy, his battle cry echoing through the air. Show them the true might of the Bootgun. They charged, slashing at the monsters, their sharp blades easily slicing through their bodies. He smirked, his face full of pride. This is the invincible power of the boot gun. Suddenly, a familiar blaze ignited amidst the battlefield. The monster's limbs were engulfed in flames, severed from their bodies. He gasped in astonishment. What in the world is happening? That guy, he's on a completely different level. The onlookers watched with excited expressions. He's an incredible rookie. With him, we'll definitely win against this monster wave. Jun Jiang wielded his spear, unleashing a relentless barrage of attacks with terrifying speed. He paused, his body drenched in sweat. A level-up notification flashed across the screen. Level up. Jun Jiang smiled discreetly, thinking to himself, on the surface, it looks like I'm just hunting monsters and wasting energy. But I'm actually using this to regenerate my stamina and endurance. I'll become even stronger thanks to this level up. Suddenly, a monster appeared right behind him. The AI's voice rang out, warning of danger from behind. Jun Jiang effortlessly unleashed an attack, incinerating the monster in a sea of flames. A figure approached Jun Jiang. Inchang spoke up, initiating a conversation. It seems you're still not very aware of what's going on behind your back. Jun Jiang's expression turned serious as he recognized Inchang. Inchang, I don't have eyes in the back of my head, you know. With that, he dashed off, leaving her alone. Inchang silently observed Jun Jiang's downcast face. Does he still hate me? Inchang sighed heavily. But I can only watch from afar and do nothing because... No sooner had the thought crossed her mind than she bolted. Injang brandished her sword, charging forward. I will do everything I can. He's risking his life to save the hunters. I have to let him know. Powerful energy radiated from her blade. Injang effortlessly sliced through the monsters. With a cold, murderous glare, her determination to leave the Northern Army Guild was etched on her face. Her face was filled with rage. The unwavering will to save lives burned within her. Time passed, and monster corpses lay scattered everywhere. Jun Jiang's teammates were desperately trying to revive a fallen comrade. Damn it, wake up. He lay motionless. Jiang-su, please wake up. They pleaded desperately through their tears. Does anyone have a potion? Please help. I swear I'll repay you once we get out of this gate. Please. Medic. Medic. Jun Jia made a note. He stood in somber silence with Inchang, his face heavy with dread. This is truly a living hell. Even if everyone were to enter this place, all 111 people, less than half would make it out alive. She approached him, her voice filled with concern. Are you all right? He replied coldly, I'm fine. What about you? Are you okay, Inchang? Inchang barely managed to say, I'm fine, before they closed in. From behind, venomous insults rang out. Traitor! Everyone hurled abuses and curses. Inchang could only lower her head, enduring the onslaught of insults. Whore! Scum! Let's see if she can survive till the end. Junji was puzzled. Why are they treating her so horribly, even if she was the vice president? Could it be that I wasn't wrong? That guild would kill someone in a heartbeat. They're trampling all over what little justice she has. He questioned Inchang. Do Do you regret it? Being the vice president. Junji pressed on, and now, fighting alongside me here is like completely turning your back on them. In Chong smiled serenely, softly replying, "That's precisely why." Her cryptic words startled him, stirring a feeling of unease within him. Because I felt like I was dependent on them, only providing value for them. But ever since I met you, she continued, her voice laced with remorse, I can't ignore it anymore. I can't keep pretending not to see. I can't keep walking down this wrong path. Junji listened, his fists clenching, his eyes hardening with resolve. Yansong will act on his own. He'll make his move soon, she replied, her voice filled with confidence. Don't worry, I've already freed myself. As soon as she finished speaking, a notification suddenly appeared. Warning, the final wave of monsters is about to begin. Final boss appearing. Warning, final boss originating from the Twin Spirit Gate. The mighty Song Wind appeared. A violent earthquake suddenly struck, terrifying the warriors present. The large group gathered on the beach. Just then, a colossal dark shape erupted from the water. Their eyes widened in terror, frozen in place. Choi and In-Zone stammered, barely able to speak. Wait, what? Wait, what is that? The river churned, swelling violently. What emerged was a horrifying monster. Its gaping maw resembled a gigantic, carnivorous flower, its body and even its eyes radiating a sinister blue aura. Its appearance was terrifyingly ferocious. The monster reared up, showcasing its immense size, further emphasizing the vast difference between a superior species and weak humans. Terror reigned, the warriors so petrified that all movement froze in that instant. Some couldn't even withstand the terrifying pressure, collapsing to the ground. Despair surged, engulfing everything. This was madness. What are we going to do? Lee Junjiang, one of the witnesses present at the scene, couldn't help but let out a curse. Zhang In-chong, standing beside him, suddenly spoke. The Northern Army Guild couldn't. Choi Jansong must have a secret to killing the Hachong. The girl thoughtfully offered her own theory. He must have given that monster something. I'm certain of it. Choi Song holds the key to defeating that colossal beast. Her gaze shifted, focusing on something else. Before Choi Song hunted the Hachong, the Northern Army Guild had secretly surrounded this area for a long time, completely locked down this place. Everyone's face was filled with intense, killing intent. Someone will try to stop this attack. He had to deal with them first, facing an overwhelming force, along with state-of-the-art weaponry. In-chong left Junjiang with a short, cryptic message. Get ready. Quickly. The other warriors, still lost in confusion, couldn't grasp the situation. What's going on? Are they about to slaughter each other? She gripped her sword, fury boiling within her. The Northern Army Guild used us all. Didn't anyone notice how strange? Everything has been from the start. Why should we kill each other to monopolize the gate? Deep in her eyes, a long-suppressed rage finally found its release. I, a vice leader of the Northern Army Guild, can show you all the truth. They're going to attack us now. If you don't believe me, just watch. If we die, you're next. Junjiang watched, thinking to himself, a true master manipulator, a cunning and treacherous villain, the one who truly massacred the dragon race. Just by looking at her, you can clearly sense the aura of a seasoned hunter. The closer you get, the more terrifying her intimidating power becomes. The warriors, despite their immense confusion and fear, are somewhat convinced by her words. Indeed, they're going to die anyway, so they might as well raise their swords and fight. Half a man's face appears. He sneers mockingly. A pointless struggle. CEO John smugly gives an order, believing his command will change the tide. Northern Army Guild, proceed with the plan immediately. The sword in his hand suddenly radiates a brilliant light, like a divine halo. He roars, Hachen. The monster instantly transforms, creating massive waves that surge into the air. Zhang stares in astonishment. It's absorbing the water. Moments later, the Hachong opened its colossal maw, unleashing a blinding bolt of lightning into the sky. The weather shifted abruptly and violently. Moments before, the sky was clear, the sun blazing. Now rain poured down, drenching the earth. Looking up at the torrential downpour, he couldn't help but wonder, why did the rain come so suddenly? They're using the Hachong to alter the battlefield, try to create an advantage for themselves. Damn it, His pupils, burning crimson like blood, contracted, reflecting a heightened alertness. John, the CEO, stood proudly motionless, like an emperor about to ascend his throne. If he succeeds in this assault on the dimensional gate, he will become a celebrated hero, a figure of immense influence in this era. That cunning war king. He exhaled slowly, trying to calm his tightly wound nerves. I've been pushing myself, constantly increasing my power all day. But can I really fight? He smirked, a mocking smile playing on his lips. Those flames, they seem unusual, as if they could burn away even this rain. He paid no attention to his words, instead focusing on gathering the fire energy within his body. Because at this moment, he didn't have many other options. He could only fight. In a flash, he vanished without a trace, leaving only a swirling vortex of white smoke on the ground. Jun Jung leaped high into the air, preparing to strike. The enemy's spear clashed against his greatsword, emitting a deafening clang. Zhang Seo was the first to show signs of fatigue. After enduring the immense pressure from his opponent, he suddenly smiled as he realized his opponent's weakness had been revealed. I knew it. Seizing the opportunity, he continued his relentless assault. He could only raise his sword in defense, weakly parrying the blows. Jun Jung once again gathered all his strength, preparing to strike down. A crimson blade, the color of blood, slashed across the sky, engulfing John CEO in a furious whirlwind of attack. He was thrown back a considerable distance, his body crashing hard against the ground. John CEO's movement speed drastically decreased, his face drenched in sweat, a look of utter terror etched upon it. Fear was evident in his eyes. Impossible. You. What kind of demonic skill are you using? John CEO stammered. We're by the river. June calmly replied. My power should be amplified by this terrain. However, in stark contrast to John CEO's dire situation, the flames around June continued to blaze fiercely, unquenched by the torrential downpour. Understand now? The moment you arrogantly revealed your secret, June said, when I stepped into this dimensional gate, you were already completely outmatched. June's words were like sharp daggers, piercing John CEO's pride. No, how can this be? He screamed in despair. Meanwhile, June's sponsors sent him an unexpected gift, a massive donation. His excitement grew with each word. I've always maintained peak physical condition, moving with the stealth of a cat and constantly honing my strength. While hunting monsters, Jun Jiang exclaimed in surprise. What? You're not even the slightest bit impatient. You wouldn't understand. If words can't make him comprehend, then force will be the most persuasive teacher. No problem. That's why I'm telling you. No matter how stubborn Chairman John is, he has to silently admit that he can't defeat me this way. He can only rely on the power of the Heichung monster to protect himself. Eyes glowing, with an eerie blue light, quickly answered his summons. From the monster's short forelimbs, a volley of sharp claws shot out. He was caught off guard, forced to retreat to dodge the sudden attack. The tables have turned, he bellowed with triumphant laughter. Ha ha ha, you were far too arrogant. Did you think having powerful allies made you invincible? I have absorbed the power of a god. This power surpasses yours tenfold. A mere mortal like you cannot compare. I will show you the true meaning of unparalleled power. Jun Ji realized with a jolt that things were spiraling out of control. It was Ha-Chung's protective instinct, just like when it shielded its own young. Ha-Chung roared, a sound that shook the very earth, the earth-shattering sound echoing throughout the space. It crawled ashore right behind him, ready to sacrifice itself to protect its master. The man's aura exploded outwards, growing increasingly ferocious. He stomped on Ha-Chung's jawbone, lying on the ground. He gritted his teeth, focusing intently. There was no more time to hesitate. In a flash, he charged towards the man and the beast, with terrifying speed, catching him completely off guard. Two completely different techniques collided, creating an atmosphere of extreme tension. The power of both seemed evenly matched, with each clash resulting in neither side gaining a clear advantage. In Zhang's attack speed, and that of the Northern Army Guild members, was terrifyingly fast, almost exceeding the limits of human perception. Her eyes suddenly flashed a brilliant pink, like lotus petals, and her entire body radiated a similar ethereal glow. She gripped her sword tightly, raising it above her head, and then, with all her might, unleashed a powerful attack. Choi Jiangsu was not to be outdone. He raised his sword high above his head with both hands, preparing to strike. The inner power radiating from him was truly extraordinary. In a blink of an eye, his sword vanished from sight, leaving only the afterimage of a powerful, swift swing. He had successfully split in Zhang's magic field in two, just before it reached its destination. An earth-shattering explosion erupted, sending a blinding cloud of dust and debris billowing across the landscape. A lone figure stood silently, observing the chaotic scene unfolding before their eyes, patiently waiting for the outcome. But surprisingly, the opponent hadn't been defeated by the fierce attack. On the contrary, he emerged from the thick smoke with an indomitable spirit. John Suzuki roared defiantly, challenging her to kneel. Beg for forgiveness now, and I will at least grant you a swift death. Do you truly believe that insignificant pawn can defeat the mighty Northern Legion of Sao? We are the true sovereigns, the ultimate victors in this life-or-death struggle at the Dimensional Gate. Inchar retorted, "What's wrong with you? Have you forgotten our oath, our promise to forever protect humanity within Sao?" The two sides clashed fiercely. Swords flashed like lightning, creating blinding sparks that ripped through the night. John's armored hand spun his sword with masterful skill, fluidly changing his attack patterns. Inchang charged again, his sword held in a daring reverse grip. John suddenly pointed his sword behind his back, his other hand clutching his head as if bracing for a fatal blow. It turned out their strange movements were to build momentum, preparing to unleash a devastating attack of earth-shattering power. Elsewhere, Ha Yung slowly rose from the water, revealing his colossal size, accompanied by a grotesque and terrifying appearance. The surrounding air was sucked into a deep cavern, a cave filled with sharp, jagged thorns, which was actually the monstrous maw of the beast. The atmosphere between Jun Jiayong and Zhang Song became suffocatingly tense. However, neither seemed intent on making the first move. He broke out in a cold sweat and shouted, "Are you insane? Do you dare jump into the mouth of the Ha-Chang?" He replied indifferently, "What nonsense are you spouting? More accurately, I'm waiting for the Ha-Chang to swallow you whole. When the Ha-Chang protects its young, it swallows them and keeps them safe within its body." His expression darkened, as if he was deep in thought, pondering something profound. Regardless of the insect, the inside of their bodies is dry. He slammed his spear into the ground, causing the earth to crack. A fierce fire erupted, engulfing his weapon. The intensity of the battle escalated dramatically. His pupils glowed crimson red, radiating a murderous intent. The young man continued to analyze the situation. Within the empty stomach of that insect, the energy it absorbed from its benefactor would severely weaken the Riverside ruler's power by at least half, and my control over fire would gain absolute dominance. New lines of text continuously appeared on the notification board. Muspel's spear has successfully absorbed the flame. Fire resistance will be temporarily increased. Attack power will also be enhanced for a short period. An immense amount of heat gradually gathered within its oral cavity. The warriors fiercely battling the guild members were astonished to witness the intense flames erupting around where Zhang Hyuk was standing. His eyes widened, his face filled with disbelief at the unbelievable sight. "No, it can't be. I am the true sovereign. I am the chosen one, the true heir to destiny." The arrogant emperor couldn't accept the harsh truth before his eyes. His grip tightened on his sword, veins bulging, about to explode with rage. Throwing caution to the wind, he charged forward, risking everything, determined to settle the score. He roared a question, something he couldn't comprehend no matter how hard he tried. "Who are you?" The only answer John CEO received was a fatal blow from Zhang Ji, turning him into a crushed, mangled apple in the clutches of death. That reckless move had given him a fright. The skull emblem on his glove suddenly emitted a strange light. At the same time, a new update appeared. The soul-bone pillar has absorbed the hero's soul. The empty sockets of the skull were as deep as a bottomless abyss, as if they could see through everything. He pondered, "I know this soul pillar. It doesn't absorb the souls of ordinary demons, but craves the souls of humans more than anything. It demands those with exceptional abilities, those who have broken through countless realms, like those hailed as heroes." New titles keep appearing. Fallen Paradise, the ruler of the Riverside, has been defeated. All aid from the Riverside ruler has been cut off. His face suddenly hardened, stark surprise etched upon it. He whipped around, looking to the side. Impossible. Is a supporter dead, or was it Fallen Paradise? Just then, a warning blared. Fallen Paradise is smiling at you. A great sword slammed into the ground, exuding a powerful, swirling aura of dark energy. After killing the incarnation, did the supporter die too? But according to the Demon King Compendium, the supporter is immortal. That terrifying energy suddenly erupted, like a cosmic black hole expanding endlessly. Finally, the energy coalesced, taking the form of a mysterious black raven. The eyes of Sung Jin-woo returned to normal, no longer influenced by the power. He stared intently at the black raven. Suddenly, it spoke. You haven't answered me yet. What is your answer to the final question? In Jin-woo's mind, the image of Thomas Andre, the strongest hunter, sacrificing himself, flooded back. He kept telling himself, killing a hunter is not like killing a monster. Jin-woo opened his mouth slightly and uttered, I am. His mind was in turmoil. But deep down, he always remembered one thing. He was the descendant of the monarch of destruction. Moreover, he was a pursuer of peace. Becoming a demon king might be an option, but that's still, with the fate of the world on the brink of collapse. I will bear the burden, even if it means enduring shame or unforgivable sin. I will overcome the demon king. Based on that righteousness, you make your final decision without hesitation, O demon god. And as a result, Fallen Paradise supports your choice. A mysterious black crow, hovering mid-air, flaps its wings and replies, very interesting. I will see you again soon. With those words, his entire body vanishes into thin air, as if he never existed. Jang Ji-hoon whispers to himself, report, meticulously and in detail, everything you have witnessed and heard too. Your master. The final battle has come to an end. The final boss of the invasion gate, Ha Trung, has been eliminated. Ha Trung's entire body is engulfed in flames, causing it to scream in excruciating pain. It collapses, its body crashing down into the water. A series of notifications continue to appear on the screen. You have made the greatest contribution. You have mastered the essence of the river. You have achieved the title Riverworm Slayer. You have achieved the title Conqueror of the River. You have leveled up. You have leveled up. The warriors all opened their eyes wide. A stunned silence fell over them. The Duke's men were frozen, unsure how to react. Black smoke billowed from the charred remains of the monstrous worm, and then the hero who had slain it slowly emerged from the torrential downpour. The warriors couldn't hide their elation. Wow, the rookie actually took down the river worm. He did it. Jun Jiayung beamed, basking in the enthusiastic welcome of his comrades. However, it wasn't over yet. In Chong suddenly shouted his name, Lee. Jun Jung had just lifted his head when he suddenly saw a figure wielding a sword, charging towards him at lightning speed. Bastard! The sword strike carried John Su's furious rage, descending directly towards Jun Jung's head. Fortunately, in nick of time, he managed to raise his shield to block the blow. John Su's eyes were bloodshot as he roared furiously. What did you do to my brother? Everything's been ruined because of you. Jun Jung staggered under the terrifying force, nearly exhausted. John Su raised his sword once more, preparing for a second attack. His feet digging into the sand, Jun Jung mustered all his strength into his arm, using his shield to knock his opponent away. John Su slid across the ground, his body convulsing from the impact, but with sheer willpower, he managed to keep his balance, refusing to fall down again. A ferocious growl ripped from his throat, like a wild beast cornered and desperate. In his hand, a sharp metal weapon, forged in the infernal flames of unimaginable heat, flashed up and down with blurring speed. Jun Ji, quick as lightning, gave his opponent no chance to react or speak, thrusting the sharp tip of his spear directly at his face. Cold sweat beaded on John Su's forehead, large drops rolling down his pale face. He realized he was completely trapped with no way out. Jun Ji's voice cut through the tension, low and filled with righteous anger. The reason you were all given extraordinary powers, to become powerful hunters, is to protect the vulnerable AIs, those in danger. Great power comes with great responsibility. But those like you, who only inflict pain and terrorize the weak, are not worthy of being called hunters. John Su, filled with resentment but powerless, hung his head, unable to face the harsh truth. Seeing that John Su had completely lost his will to fight, Jun Ji withdrew his weapon, Today, I've stained my hands with far too much blood, glancing back with eyes filled with burning rage. I don't want to witness any more scenes like this. He turned to leave after sternly demanding repentance and a life of virtue. But he never expected that. The moment he turned his back on his enemy would be the moment he paved the way for revenge. His hand reached out, summoning a sharp sword. The moment he let his guard down, Jansu seized the opportunity, launching a fatal attack from behind. By the time he realized it, it was too late. A stream of crimson blood erupted, splattering everywhere. But it wasn't Jun Jiai's blood, because In Chong had jumped in front of him, intercepting the fatal blow. That courageous act saved him from the jaws of death. Witnessing this, his entire body trembled, his eyes wide with shock and disbelief. How could this be? As a result, his body collapsed to the ground, lying in a pool of crimson blood from massive blood loss. Immediately, countless system notifications popped up in succession. Soul-binding bone has absorbed the soul of a hero. The skull affixed to the gauntlet suddenly emitted a mystical light. He anxiously asked his benefactor, "Are you all right, Kang?" And Kang replied curtly, "Yes." But her face darkened, hinting at regret and torment. "I should have stopped them sooner. If I had, this tragedy wouldn't have happened." He softly consoled her. "You don't have to blame yourself. You're different from them. You're in Kang." Suddenly, she pointed her sword towards the ground. "I think this is what I should do." He was a bit confused. "What do you mean?" Without another word, Kang plunged her sword into the ground. Finally, she made her decision with an extremely solemn expression. "I will never wield a sword again. I will live to atone for the sins of the Northern Army Guild." With that, she turned and walked away, each step taking her further from her own weapon. The boy's mind was a tangled mess, his thoughts in utter chaos. Had she really given up on everything? How could someone destined to be a great superhero, just give up so easily? This was much more serious than he thought. No, it couldn't be. He couldn't just let her walk away like this. But right now, he was powerless, only able to watch her leave. Gradually, the sky cleared, the clouds dispersed, and the wind calmed. The deep blue sea returned to its inherent tranquility. Jun Jiayong and his fellow warriors were present on the white sand beach. Ahead, countless camera flashes were going off nonstop from the reporters. Suddenly, a group stepped forward, shouting, "We are members of the Hunters Association. Everyone, stop taking pictures." The reporters instinctively stopped. Silence. Where's Choi Junsu?" "Choi Junsu isn't here either," one of them asked, looking perplexed. "What happened in there? Could the Northern Military Guild be behind all of this?" The hunter, standing amidst the crowd, was the key figure in this gate raid. A brilliant idea flashed through his mind. No one knew his identity or what he looked like. This was definitely a hot scoop. His fellow reporters shared the same thought. They bombarded him with questions. What happened inside the gate? Who are you? What's your name? A pair of nimble feet stepped forward. It was C.O.O. Gu. He gently placed a hand on Jun Jiang's shoulder from behind. This was the rookie who awakened as a sea ring, the one who had been the subject of so many rumors. The media instantly erupted. "What? Really? The rookie? That guy? He's C.O.O. Gu from the Allied Guild. It seems S-rank hunter Go Gun-hee and the rookie know each other." He raised a hand, placed it gently under his chin, and coughed softly. Go Gun-hee spoke, his voice resonant and commanding, to calm the overexcited, fervent media. "These brave hunters have just returned from an extremely dangerous raid on the perilous Hellgate. Shouldn't we give them time to rest? Just look at these warriors covered in wounds. Some can barely even stand. That should tell you enough. Right now, let's give these heroes who returned from the brink of death, as well as those who bravely sacrificed themselves and couldn't return, a huge round of applause." In that moment, the reporters were completely swayed by his sincere words. They all clapped thunderously. It was their way of showing the bare minimum of respect for those who risked everything for everyone's safety. However, the warriors couldn't bring themselves to smile. They simply bowed their heads, their faces etched with grief. A mysterious gate, where 110 elite warriors were summoned, became a special entrance, and the fate of those who returned from that earthly hell. The final survival count was revealed, exposing the heartbreaking truth of their tremendous losses. A mere 39 survived. A storm of emotions surged within them as they deeply understood the cruelty of this reality. The brilliant golden sun shone down upon the tranquil sea, making the waters sparkle like countless pieces of gold-plated silver. Meanwhile, in the bustling metropolis, a constant stream of vehicles zipped between towering skyscrapers. A mysterious black crow perched outside a window, as if patiently waiting for its master. The association president quickly noticed its presence. As the crow landed on his desk, he gave a cryptic smile and said, "Hu-Jin, you're late." A profound silence filled the office. The president, after listening to the story, couldn't help but exclaim, "It seems he knows we can control the Heichang. And he also knows the secret of creating heroes." Interesting. The black crow cawed in strange tones, like a long-forgotten ancient language. He unconsciously scratched his cheek, a pensive expression on his face. Become more powerful by hunting an evil god. Without further hesitation, his finger decisively pressed down on the screen of the vintage phone on his desk. It seemed he had come to a crucial, irreversible decision. "Then we will meet with the survivors who returned from the gate." The voice on the other end immediately acknowledged the order, respectful and obedient. "I'll prepare right away." Suddenly, the chairman's eyes flashed with a cold, dangerous glint. "And we won't need to concern ourselves with the Northern Army Guild anymore." "Understood." Once again, the voice on the other end hastily replied, filled with subservience, "I understand. I'll take care of this permanently and make a press release." Traffic flowed swiftly and busily through the crowded streets, weaving between towering skyscrapers, obscuring the clear blue sky. And Trang quietly entered the vast auditorium. Her eyes held a hint of sadness as she silently observed her surroundings. Memories of her time working under the Northern Army Guild came flooding back. Old images flashed through her mind. Specifically, the meeting led by John, the powerful CEO. Now, that place was just an empty space, with the solitary silhouette of one person. She hung her head, lost in deep thought. No one knew what she was thinking. Her delicate brows furrowed slightly, her voice laced with endless remorse. "Hunters, I truly hate all of this." Suddenly, a group of people spoke up from behind, breaking the silence. "Vice Guild Master." She turned around, a look of surprise on her face at their sudden appearance. "Everyone." A young man stepped forward, speaking for the group, addressing in Chong. "You did nothing wrong. Vice Guild Master. Vice Guild Master Choi Jong-soo and Guild Master Choi Jong-seo are the ones to blame." Even though she knew that, their words of comfort couldn't ease the pain in her heart. Suddenly, the former guild members all knelt before her, making her jump in surprise. "Please reconsider," he pleaded with her earnestly. "I long to live an honest life, to be a good father. We are willing to atone for Buchan's mistakes. You shouldn't bear this responsibility alone." The Vice Guild Master remained resolute, accepting all the blame. "This is my duty. I'm the supreme commander of this guild. No one else needs to suffer for my actions." Things had gone too far. He decided to hide nothing further. "Vice Guild Master, there are some things you don't know." Her expression remained sorrowful, seemingly unconcerned by his words. However, his next confession completely changed the situation. "We are the murderers." This shocking declaration, it struck her like a lightning bolt tearing through the night sky, sending a shock wave through her mind. The scene shifts to a luxurious, high-end apartment. A slender hand tightly grips a can of soda. Chairman Gu speaks, his tone seeking confirmation. "I've taken care of all your personal information with the media, haven't I? Is there anything else I shouldn't do, sir?" Looking at Jun Jiaiyong's expression, it's clear he's immensely satisfied. "Thanks to you, I'm this famous now." A thrilling tale was spun about Li Junjiaiyong. In the blink of an eye, the young man became a shining star. That's a well-deserved reward for clearing a gate so thoroughly. Rank B straight to rank A. He graced countless front pages of major newspapers and famous TV channels. The news spread like wildfire with no sign of stopping. That's the well-deserved reward for a C-rank hunter skyrocketing to A rank overnight. A true hero has risen above adversity. The underestimated. This underdog will surpass all expectations and shatter every obstacle in his path. Just fame? What about now? People call him the weak one, the overlooked. Mr. Gu placed 2 fingers beneath his chin, a contemplative expression on his face. The term weak usually refers to those lacking strength, so I don't think it truly applies to you. You're being too modest. To a simple hunter with no real power like myself, it's not entirely inappropriate either. He expressed, "Regardless, I was worried you would see this as unnecessary interference. Thank you for receiving it this way." Inside, Jungu thought to himself, "I think I need to let him know Because of my next plan. Finally, he decided to speak. By the way, how did you know that? He asked, confused. What do you mean? The young man replied seriously, continuing his story. I'm using the hero initialization process for my own personal gain, because the true meaning of hero initialization remains a mystery unknown to anyone. In this era, he muttered, hero initialization. CO Jian wanted to clarify the young man's statement. Are you saying you have the ability to create heroes? Everyone in this age believes that heroes are born from the fervent desires and the destiny of those who support them, as well as the flow of time. The young man startled slightly and stammered. You know that? You are. His pupils widened in realization. A member of Asgard. His eyes suddenly flashed with a mysterious golden light. He looked truly mystical. An incredibly powerful energy radiated from his entire being. An overwhelming pressure spread, reaching even the swing in the park, causing it to tremble relentlessly. The trees on both sides of the road swayed and thrashed wildly. Inside the office, an employee stood before the chairman's desk. It seemed they were discussing something important. The chairman's eyes suddenly widened, as if he had just realized something unusual. Seeing this, the subordinate looked curious. What is it, Mr. Chairman? A sly smile crept across the chairman's lips. Nothing. I just sensed something interesting happening. His face darkened with worry. This is his true power. A powerful energy began to gather around Song-gu. He closed his eyes, trying to regain his composure. Finally, he spoke, his voice calm but filled with foreboding. How did you know the book mentioned Hindu? From the moment I met him, he was already a member of Asgard. He cleverly turned the tables, countering with a question. Why did you act that way? Your actions lead me to believe you knew beforehand. My entire plan before making your move. The corner of his lips curled into a knowing smirk. It seems I've seen right through you. He replied bluntly. I also have my suspicions about you, about your unusually rapid development. Your eyes and demeanor suggest you've grasped something. Jun Gio couldn't help but exclaim, I see. You set a trap, and I walked right into it? He thought to himself, although it was just a coincidence, then continued to probe. Why would you assume I did that? Song-gu remained silent for a long moment, patiently awaiting a response. His firm answer was the most unexpected thing he could have said. Because I want to join ASGA. Everything had gone exactly as planned, which was why Jun Gio was so confident. ASGA, a clandestine organization that gathers the most powerful hunters. The real battle has just begun. The sky slowly turned to the color of dusk, signaling the approaching night. At a desolate, silent construction site, cold concrete steps led upward. Trang walked slowly, wondering aloud. Why did you want to meet me? Her voice was cold and direct. Just get to the point. I don't see any reason to waste time. She seemed unwilling to let the other person waste time on her. I think my worth ended at the light gate. I no longer have any value to the Buck Gun Guild. I've become useless. She lowered her head slightly, trying to hide the pain on her face. Someone like me can't do anything right. He quickly countered, no, you are valuable. Her hands clenched into fists, trembling uncontrollably. You talk like you know everything. Ijun Gi. Tears welled up in the corners of her eyes. Yet, she still managed to yell with all her remaining strength. Yes, you're right. The Northern Army Guild is nothing more than a stinking garbage dump, and I'm just a useless piece of debris in that wreckage. Outside the imposing structure, the sky today wore a heavy leaden gray. A few faint stars struggled to shine through the gloomy darkness. June, his face etched with worry, softly asked, did something bad happen? She replied in a somber voice, heavy with unspoken burdens. What I just discovered is far more horrifying than you can imagine. They've been murdering people on the guild leader's orders. More precisely, vulnerable people, those who can't defend themselves. Hearing this, he became incredibly agitated, his heart pounding in his chest. In despair, she slumped down, collapsing onto the cold stone steps, her arms wrapped tightly around her knees, as if trying to cling to the last vestiges of warmth. Pain and helplessness consumed her entirely. Do you remember the horrors we witnessed? On that fateful day, when the hunters and the common folk clashed, her hand instinctively rose to cover her face, as if to hide the pain and despair etched on her features. They ruthlessly and secretly assassinated innocent people amidst the escalating conflict. Chairman Choi John, the true CEO, treated the lives of the people like dirt. Jun Jiang's mind was a tangled mess, overwhelmed with worry. This is bad. Someone is righteous. as upright as her. How could she possibly bear this horrifying truth? At this rate, her spirit will completely crumble. But I can't afford to lose her. He pressed her, asking urgently, "What are you going to do if this tragedy happens again?" Then he calmly expressed his thoughts. The gates to another dimension suddenly opened, and hunters awakened. Ordinary people are completely powerless against that terrifying strength. Jun Jion's words made him start to worry. If even a small guild like Baekjeong faces this, surely other places are suffering too. Are you going to ignore those atrocities? He frankly stated his intentions. I want to put a stop to all of this. I want to fix the mistakes they've made. Finally, he declared boldly, the horrors that you've witnessed and endured, I want to end them completely. The girl could no longer remain silent. She abruptly stood up and vehemently retorted, "Do you really believe you can stop it? I know you possess extraordinary power, but do you understand just how terrifying his power truly is? We're nothing but tiny mosquitoes to him." The harsh truth was spoken from the girl's own lips. "I don't have the courage to fight him." Are you claiming to know how to defeat him and change the entire world? Before the unwavering gaze of the other person, Jun-gyo realized he had no way out. Either act or die. His eyes widened. He gritted out each word. Deep down, he had long since made up his mind. "I'm from the future." This shocking revelation left Trang stunned, frozen in place. In that very moment, he solemnly revealed a looming catastrophe, a devastating great flood that would claim countless lives and destroy everything. The world will desperately need your power then. To give her time to process his words, he extended an invitation. "You received a summons from the association, didn't you? I'll wait for you there. Think carefully about what I've said." Time passed quietly until the dawn of the next day. In a luxurious high-rise apartment, a news report continuously updated the situation regarding the dimensional gates. "We've just received reports of thousands of horrific massacres committed by the Northern Army Guild. Hunters have ruthlessly slaughtered civilians. The Northern Army Guild has gone completely rogue. Could their casualties at the Song-Ha Dimensional Gate is the prophecy of the punishment they must endure." Junji silently pressed the power button on the TV remote. "This article contains more detailed information than I thought." He thought to himself, was it prepared in advance? I'm sure those people are behind this, but worrying won't help now. I'll set it aside for the time being. The skull attached to his bracelet suddenly emitted a mysterious light. A series of notifications popped up. Soul Core Pillar has been activated and is ready to transform into a true avatar. His eyes widened, gleaming with long-suppressed anticipation. It has finally awakened. 10 souls of CEO John and Sujin John have been absorbed, combined with the water spirit stone of the aqua monster and the essence of the Wynam River. Avatar name, Hyunmu. Chant its name to summon. He extended his arm forward. I wonder how powerful this avatar will be. He softly muttered the name. Hyunmu, the skull detached from his hand, floating mid-air and gradually expanded. Suddenly, a voice boomed. "Did you summon me?" Master June froze, stiff as a stone statue. This is the Bone Dragon. A skull with its own consciousness. What in the world is going on? Atop the building was a spacious, open rooftop. The ancient books stated that the power of magic was as natural as breathing. He meditated naked to more easily focus the energy within his body. Based on his current knowledge, he slowly analyzed. He and many other heroes wondered, have we truly unlocked magic's full potential? We constantly ponder, how can we awaken the true power of magic? Despite being warned about the existence of the mana flow, he was acutely aware that this was beyond his capabilities. I can't do this, he thought to himself. Sweat poured down him like rain, soaking his shirt. The method the Demon King had taught him, the secret to harnessing the full power of magic, was too vague, lacking detail, making it incredibly difficult to execute. Countless calculations about the future flashed through his mind. An unavoidable catastrophic flood seemed to be approaching, and when that moment arrived, current A-rank hunters will be demoted to C+. Before disaster strikes, I must become stronger, he told himself. But it's too much. Just then, a message from Kim Suiong popped up on his phone screen. I'm waiting outside to take you to the association. His hand tightened around his now powered-off phone. Deep within his heart, a steely resolve formed. Finally, we will meet. A new day began. Brilliant sunlight streamed in, reflecting off the glass of the skyscrapers. A constant stream of vehicles flowed along the bustling streets, an endless dance of motion. Focused on navigating the traffic, Soo-young spoke to the man in the back seat. "I've never seen you so anxious." Jun Jae-young offered a faint smile. "I'm not a god." He flatly admitted, "That's right. I never thought you were just ordinary. Did I say something wrong? Even though we've been through countless dangerous dungeons, even the deadly King's River Gate, you've never shown any worry." He unconsciously recalled his past actions. Is that so?" he said, his tone drawing out. "But if you're worried about meeting the association president, I'm guessing he's not someone you see often." A cryptic smile appeared on his face. "But don't worry. He hasn't summoned you because you've made a mistake. I'm sure of it. This is just an occasion for him to acknowledge your achievements." His expression suddenly turned somber. More than 50 hunters died in the Gai River Gate, and among them was the guild master of the Northern Army Guild, a guild of incredibly high standing. Yoongi states it firmly. "I'm absolutely certain. This isn't just a casual meeting to hand out rewards to the survivors and hear a debriefing. In reality, this is an unusual interrogation, full of hidden meanings." Hearing this, CEO Ian suddenly looked remorseful. "I understand. I apologize for having such shallow thoughts." Recalling the conversation with Song-gu a while ago, "You wanted to join ASGA before, right? That decision isn't within my authority. I don't know if you're aware of this, but the stories recorded in that diary reveal that Hindu is deeply disappointed with the current state of ASGA. Their original goal was to dedicate themselves to protecting humanity, but ASGA has become corrupted and decayed." He pondered, piecing together all the clues. When Song-gu encountered the Demon King, he rebelled against ASGA, but it seems he hasn't found a way yet. The Demon King was also a member of ASGA for a brief period, but unfortunately, he passed away with Himdall. Suddenly, his eyes flew open, blazing with unusual determination. "I will join Asgard before the Demon King appears, and I must become truly powerful, quickly. I will utilize every resource they have, until I am no longer of use to them." Outside the towering skyscraper, a voice broke the silence. "You may enter." Jun Jae-young now stood before a massive door. The moment he stepped inside, he saw the association president intently examining a bookshelf. In his office, the man quickly turned around. "My apologies, young man. Even though I invited you here, I haven't quite prepared properly. Something urgent came up today." He extended his hand. "It's a pleasure to meet you, despite my lack of preparedness. But for now, I am the president of the Korean Hunters Association." His true identity was finally revealed. "I am Kong Hyejin." Jun Jae-young was lost in thought, his mind racing. This was the enigmatic figure the entire Northern Army obeyed without question, their loyalty bordering on absolute worship. The same man the Demon King had mentioned numerous times in his journal. Based on the little information he had, Jun Jae-young quickly came to a conclusion. This man possessed unparalleled power, strength beyond comprehension, to the point where Jun Jae-young had no choice but to acknowledge the obvious truth. His power was truly terrifying. He knew that confronting him would only lead to a devastating defeat. They both extended their hands, clasping each other's as a sign of goodwill and cooperation. Jun Jae-young introduced himself. "I am Lee Jun Jae-young." The corner of Hyejin's lips curled into a subtle, knowing smile. "Suddenly, an overwhelming aura, an absolute and domineering presence, enveloped the entire space around Hyejin." "Why don't we skip the formalities," Hyejin said, "and get straight to the point?" Are you really an AI?" Jun Jae-young probed. A terrifying surge of energy erupted, engulfing Hyejin's entire being. "You seem to have it all figured out, don't you? So why continue this game of cat and mouse? We're the ones backing the Northern Army Guild." Young-hee's expression remained unchanged. Words from the mysterious journal flashed through his mind. "Trust nothing about Odin, for everything about him is a lie." Young-hee calmly replied, "I know." The dark energy surrounding the man suddenly diminished by half. The chairman held up the tablet in his hand, his voice tinged with disappointment. "It seems you're not quite what I expected. Did I say something wrong?" The chairman, intently studying the tablet, clicked his tongue in admiration. Truly an extraordinary young man. He began to list Young-hee's impressive past achievements. In Young-hee's past, according to the records, the moment you awakened as a hunter, you eliminated hundreds of monsters. and even the boss monster inside the gate. He was rescued by the Hunters Association and initially ranked C-class. But in just 2 months, following a fierce battle at the coast, a short time before, he rose to become an A-rank hunter and single-handedly defeated the infamous He Chiong. The chairman stated, "Truly remarkable progress. I'm impressed. But I have a question." Suddenly, the notepad erupted in a mystical blue flame, accompanied by an abrupt shift in his demeanor. "Why did you kill him?" "John, that CEO, was someone I was training under unseen pressure from the enemy. You didn't seem to hesitate. So, you were watching everything through the crow." "I simply eliminated a hunter who was trying to assassinate me. What's wrong with that?" His voice remained as gravelly and turbid as ever. "Of course there is. You destroyed a valuable pawn. One I've spent considerable time and effort cultivating. You know, small fry yourself. On the contrary, was he nothing more than a sacrificial pawn? Just as you said, my chairman only cares about the bigger picture. I want to join Asgard." His blunt declaration caused Hyojin to freeze for a moment, then bring a hand to his chin in amusement. "Oh ho, you truly possess a surprising amount of nerve. You want to join? But do you truly understand what Asgard is?" Yoon Gi-eul replied frankly. "It's an organization founded by the first hunters, with the noble goal of saving humanity. Isn't Asgard a specific place?" He added in a serious tone, "And you are Odin, the supreme king of Asgard. I'll say it again, I want to join Asgard." Another strange detail sent shivers down the chairman's spine. It was a cryptic note. Inside the old journal, Odin is not a being of noble character. His benevolent appearance is merely a perfect mask concealing his true nature. In reality, he is more cunning, sinister, and ruthless than any artificial intelligence. However, even a powerful being like him has a weakness. Hyojin suddenly became incredibly excited, his eyes lighting up with delight. "This is incredible. How could you possibly know all of this? For my very existence, to Haechung being manipulated, and you even revealed to me the secret of you growing stronger by hunting monsters. It's as if you're deliberately provoking me. There's still a long passage about Odin's insatiable curiosity and his desire to acquire all knowledge, like a bottomless abyss. He wouldn't hesitate to join forces with the enemy, as long as it satisfies the burning thirst for knowledge in his soul. Deep down, he was silently betting his life on this gamble, but it seemed to be working rather effectively. Everything was unfolding exactly as described in the book. Odin couldn't refuse his offer. Because of his innate curiosity, the more he probed, the more captivated he became, and most importantly, his gaze had no effect on him whatsoever. "Why, you know about my eyes too?" He continued to display his knowledge. Could those be the eyes of truth? This could be interpreted as follows. Because his eyes were completely useless against him, Odin was incredibly intrigued. Furthermore, the notification appeared at the perfect moment. The Apocalypse Sky strongly objects. These AIs were trying to disturb the players' minds and issue warnings to those seeking the truth. Hyojin covered his face with his hand, trying to hide his sinister smile. How interesting. Quickly, he regained his composure, the calm demeanor of a guild master. "Very well, I will allow you to join ASGA. However, you'll have to undergo a few entrance exams." Actually, this was originally CEO John's idea, a foolish hero who suggested this. "But if you can overcome these challenges, I will officially recognize you as a member of ASGA." An electric current once again enveloped his entire body and even beneath the mask, concealing his eyes. "Of course, I must seal your mind to prevent this information from leaking to any other AI, right?" A bright light radiated outwards, piercing through the glass windows of the skyscraper. Scene change. Countless canned drinks were neatly arranged on glass shelves inside a cabinet. Jun Jiaeyong sat pensively at a coffee table, lost in thought. Not only did he disable the Eye of Truth, but even a mind seal he placed was undone. Fortunately, Odin didn't seem too concerned about it. He sank deep into thought, wondering, could this revelation sky not only block mind control, but also neutralize all mental attacks? Could it completely disable any psychic assault? If so, its power would be truly unimaginable. Suddenly, a figure approached, calling out, "Mr. Junjung." He startled awake from his thoughts. "Oh, I'm sorry, I was lost in thought. Please have a seat," he asked solicitously. "You met with the association president today, correct? Did he say anything unusual?" In Chang's expression turned somber. "No, he only said, that he regretted the unfortunate events that befell the Northern Army Guild. Is that all? She lowered her head, her voice fading. I didn't dare ask him why he did it. Jun Jung decided to be blunt. Ms. Chong, I'm certain that the president's true goal is to eliminate you. Regardless, she knows his true identity. But why does she assume he wouldn't harm her and let her be just because she's innocent? She made this judgment based on her understanding of Hyojin's nature. I'm certain he wouldn't hesitate to kill innocents either. He quickly agreed. Exactly, the only reason she's still alive is simply because she gave her blunt, halbu judgment. She's worthless, dead or alive. She's not a threat to him. Although the Northern Army Guild posed no threat to him, they were all massacred. It was a chilling warning to all the other guilds, signaling his return. Intong gritted her teeth, trying to hold back, the hot tears welling up in her eyes. Her whole body trembled. So, I'm nothing. As she was collapsing in despair, helplessly kneeling, a hand unexpectedly reached out to her. This is why you should join forces with me. He spoke at length with an incredibly serious and sincere expression. I have a dream, and that's to change this world. You can call me arrogant, conceited, or delusional. But for someone who has fallen as far as you have, what do you have to lose by choosing to work with me? These sincere words seemed to touch In Chang's fragile heart. In Chang, causing her to slowly lift her head and look at him. Her eyes were red-rimmed. Her cheeks flushed as if she had just awakened from a long, dark despair, a despair that felt endless. Everything was finally settled, favorably through a meaningful handshake. Time passed silently, and night gradually fell, covering everything. Jun Ji-oh and In Chong returned to the familiar building, where they first met and talked. After the fierce battle with the guild ended, she spoke, a hint of worry in her voice. So what do we do now? He replied with a question of his own. Miss Kang, I'm certain you received assistance from some powerful force back in the Gi River Gate, didn't you? Well, can you tell me exactly what kind of help you received? It wasn't that thing you summoned on your fingertip just now, was it? I don't know how to use it, but I received the Blood Dragon Stone from my benefactor, Prince Bekma. Her answer perfectly matched his suspicions, just as I suspected. Then tell me a little about this treasure, the Blood Dragon Stone. It's an incredibly rare crystal, only mentioned 3 times in the Demon King's journal, and it's the key catalyst that allows the undying Siegfried to reach his perfect form. In Kang held out the Blood Dragon Stone without hesitation, as if offering it to him. I'll give you this Blood Dragon Stone. Hearing this, Jun Jung's eyes widened in surprise. He couldn't understand her actions at all. Do you not know the true value of this stone? It felt like it had been ages since he'd seen such a bright, vibrant smile grace her beautiful lips. Seeing Jun Jung's reaction, she thought he must understand the stone's value far better than she did. He accepted the stone, lost in thought. Although he greatly desired this precious stone, why would she give it to him so easily? This item was given to you as sponsorship. Are you sure you can just give it away like this? It could be very beneficial to you. She stood firm, her voice unwavering. This is a gift for you. Someone who has placed their trust in me and recognized my abilities. From now on, I will follow your guidance and oversight. Jun Jung clutched the stone in his hand and softly said, I understand. I don't understand how I could receive this rare blood dragon stone. This was the moment he realized a shocking truth. Could it be that she, looking at her innocent, pure appearance, anyone would mistake her for easy prey, someone incredibly gullible. Just then, an announcement rang out. The apocalypse sky smiles upon you, a triumphant smile. Currently, Jun Jiyoung was in a shop specializing in weapons. It's been a while, hasn't it? Jae-hyun curiously asked. So what brings you here? He glanced up, observing his surroundings. Information on each sword displayed on the wall appeared one after another on the screen before his eyes. Even the weapons tucked away in a hidden corner were meticulously examined by him. Finally, he uttered 2 words, magnificent. Jae-hyun added, they're still not quite finished. Thanks to your help, the forge's fire problem has been solved. However, the supply of materials was still unstable. Jun Jiyoung broke out in a cold sweat, thinking to himself, this is unavoidable. A blacksmith skill is truly important, but materials play an equally essential role. Because currently, in the time before the Great Flood, it's difficult to acquire enough materials to meet his needs. The Blood Dragon Stone suddenly shone brilliantly, radiating a sparkling aura on his fingertips. The moment he presented it to Jae-hyun, All of Jaehyun's movements seemed to freeze. Jaehyun's hand slammed down on the table. The talented blacksmith couldn't hide the utter astonishment on his face. What is that? I've never seen such a strange crystal before. To avoid any misunderstanding, he quickly denied, "No, it's not a gift." Jaehyun loudly retorted, "Teach, that's obvious. Do you think there's anyone stupid enough in this world to bestow such a rare and precious item?" Hearing this, Jun Jiayoung was momentarily speechless. "I think so." He picked something up and asked to borrow my hammer for a moment. Without a word, he went straight to the forge. Ji-hyun was restless, his heart pounding in his chest. Hey, what are you doing?" He raised the hammer high, preparing to strike the gemstone. Looking at his bulging, veined biceps, it was clear he was putting a tremendous amount of force into it. The hammer head began to glow brightly, as if electricity were coursing through it. Jae-hyun couldn't stand by and watch any longer. "You madman! Stop!" I said stop, but it was too late. The mighty blow was struck. Metal clashed against the table with a deafening clang. As a result, the blood dragon stone was split in two. Jae-hyun recoiled in horror, his hands covering his pale face. He seemed unable to accept the harsh truth before his eyes. After recounting the entire story, the blacksmith regained his composure, slowly picking up the two shards of the stone and examining them closely. "So how is this thing used?" "The journal says that the blood dragon stone has the ability to regenerate when it absorbs a certain amount of blood. In other words, it can replicate itself." Jun Ji stated his request seriously. "Embed half of the blood dragon stone into the muspel spear." "The blood dragon stone isn't something that's easily handled or refined." The blacksmith turned his head to the side, speaking hesitantly. "As for the other half of the blood dragon stone," the blacksmith's eyes suddenly became serious. "This great sword is very similar to Chiak Peng's demonic sword." A massive long sword lay hidden beneath the water. Catching his attention, "Place the gem on this heavy blade's tongue." The person opposite responded politely, "This time, I will help you for free. Thanks to your grace, I can not only process this rare crystal, but also have you unlock the secrets hidden within it." The scene transitioned to a different location, seen from above. The majestic mountain landscape below seemed to stretch endlessly, but was obscured by a thick fog. A colossal monster, its massive body cleaved in two by a sharp beam of light, pierced through space. Another monster was caught in a deadly, unbelievably beautiful diagonal sword strike. System notifications continuously popped up. Blood Dragon Stone has absorbed the monster core sample. Blood Dragon Stone's regeneration rate is 1.7%. Standing before the mountain of monster corpses, Jun Jiayoung and In-chong simply observed from afar. She excitedly looked down below, admiring the brand new treasure in his hand. He exclaimed, "I'm really pleased with this heavy blade. I've never used a heavy blade before, but it feels incredibly comfortable in my hand, as if it were made for me." He couldn't help but praise Jaehyun's skill, as expected of Master Jaehyun, a true master in the art of weapon forging. He then turned to her and asked, "What's the current regeneration rate of the Blood Dragon Stone?" She estimated, "Around 2%, I think." He added, "The more powerful monsters you hunt, the higher the regeneration rate will be." Her eyes lit up with anticipation. He mused, "Come to think of it, we turned one stone into two, and two will become four." She smiled and said, "Giving you the teacher stone was a wise decision." He replied with a confident smile. Suddenly, a loud explosion rocked the air. At the same time, a giant orc appeared, with an abnormally large body. It unleashed a savage roar, as if gathering energy, and unleashing a devastating attack with all its might. Yoongi, in a split second, leaped away from the terrifying explosion. Nahori escaping danger. Looking back, he saw the boy still unharmed, landing firmly on the ground with one leg. His body buckled from the risky maneuver. The boss of this gate is the War Mind, an incredibly formidable force. But where's In-chong? Thinking that, he called out, "In-chong." On the other side of the battlefield, the situation seemed much more difficult. She was forced to muster all of her strength to withstand the Warman's ferocious attack. With her greatsword, her teeth gritted, her face full of determination and endurance. For the slightest lapse would mean instant crushing. Fortunately, she managed to escape the precarious situation. She swung her greatsword powerfully, breaking free from the opponent's grip. A sharp sword strike sent the creature flying, This time, the monster was hanging by a thread. Its movements became noticeably sluggish. The main reason was 6 powerful greatswords. Fred had used that sword to block countless ferocious attacks from the monsters. A proud smirk spread across his lips. Just as expected, even a monster seemed surprised to see a human withstand its terrifying power. In-chong dashed towards the monster's feet, finally unleashing a powerful upward slash. The monster was caught off guard, completely unable to react. Not stopping there, she leaped high into the air, preparing for a fatal finishing blow. Her eyes widened with intense focus. The same technique, but executed in reverse, sealed the monster's fate. The setting sun painted the sky crimson. In-chong sat down heavily, a look of exhaustion on her face. June approached, softly calling out, "In-chong, I never knew being with you could bring me so much peace." His sincere words filled her with strength and determination. A blush crept on her cheeks, reflecting her undeniable joy. He playfully alluded to a secret only the two of them shared. "So, in the next 2 days, we have to get there." She agreed. "So, the decisive moment is almost here?" He gave her a serious reminder. "For the next 2 days, we must train relentlessly and work together seamlessly. This will maximize our chances of survival, even if it's just a sliver of hope." She nodded repeatedly in agreement, showing that she understood everything. Excitement and unconcealed eagerness shone on her face. Jun Jiayong gazed into the distance, lost in deep thought. Finally, the day to undertake Odin's trial had arrived. The sky gradually shifted into the hues of twilight, signaling the approaching night. Lights from each apartment in the building began to flicker on, twinkling brightly. Jun Jiayong leaned back tiredly on the sofa, a thoughtful expression on his face. In a fleeting moment, a chaotic storm of thoughts flooded his mind. "We really gave it our all, didn't we?" he wondered. "If only Jick Freud could have won the title. She's destined for greater things anyway. Is it too greedy to wish for this now?" Suddenly, a doorbell shattered his train of thought, pulling him back to reality. Someone was at the door. He and Song-gu sat facing each other in the classroom, by a large window, overlooking the bustling street below. Song-gu, wasting no time, got straight to the point. "I'll be blunt," he began. "Tomorrow, don't go. If you do, you'll die." This is completely different from the incident at the Lai River Gate. A look of confusion and worry washed over his face at Song-gu's warning. He was serious. He could feel it. He calmly pieced together the fragmented clues. "I've been thinking about this a lot. How did you learn about Asgard's existence? What motivated you to want to join Asgard? And what's the true purpose behind that desire?" A bright, innocent smile suddenly appeared on his lips, but I decided to push those doubts aside. "I have faith in you." June, suspicious, couldn't help but ask, Why do you trust me so much?" He closed his eyes, not showing a single ounce of regret. "I don't know. It's just intuition." He rose from his chair after giving careful instructions. "No matter what happens, don't go tomorrow. Odin has noticed you. Even if you don't participate in that test, you can still join Asgard as you wish. You haven't received a title yet, have you?" He repeatedly reminded him to be extremely cautious. "If you leave tomorrow, I'm afraid you won't return safely." But it seemed his heartfelt words couldn't sway the young man's unwavering resolve. "I appreciate your concern, but please don't worry. Indeed, a resolution nurtured for so long wouldn't be extinguished so easily like a candle in the wind." He confidently declared that even if storms arose, he would return safe and sound, for he still had much to accomplish. Time flew by. Inside a grand, spacious hall, adorned with countless iron bars bolted to the massive walls, 2 figures quietly walked side by side, entering within. It was Lee Junji and Song In-chong, both dressed in formal black attire. From head to toe, Soo-jong stepped forward with a smile, warmly welcoming the esteemed guests. "Welcome, S-rank hunter Lee Junji and Mr. Song In-chong." He spared no praise for them. "Congratulations on your promotion, Kim Soo-jong." He placed a hand on his chest and said respectfully, "Seeing you achieve such remarkable success as your subordinate, I feel incredibly proud. Moreover, and more importantly, I have the opportunity to participate in the overseas expedition. It's truly a wonderful thing. To be a hunter representing our nation is a great honor." He even bowed deeply, a full 90 degrees before Jun Jiayong. "Jun Jiayong Nim, if you wait a moment longer, the gate will open. I hope you return safely." With that, he turned and left, leaving the two of them behind. And Kang suddenly exclaimed, "He's a good man." He agreed. "Yeah, he hasn't changed a bit." A spatial gate suddenly materialized in midair. A gentleman in a sharp suit announced, "The gate to legendary London is now officially open. You may both enter through this gate. I sincerely wish you both a safe journey." The magic circle glowed, radiating a brilliant, endless shimmer. Two men from Britain were waiting to greet them. "It's an honor to meet the famed underdog warriors in person. Welcome to London." Let me explain the term underdog briefly. It refers to those who are underestimated, but ultimately achieve a spectacular, extraordinary victory. Junhyong politely replied, "It's a pleasure to meet you. We were sent here by the Korean Hunter Association. I'm Lee Junhyong, and this is Jang and Kang." She was a little surprised by his fluency. "You speak English so fluently? That's impressive." An unpleasant memory flashed through his mind. "I only learned it because in the Eden, if you're not fluent in English, you'll be considered an outsider in this world." He humbly replied, "It's not that serious. I was just fortunate enough to have the opportunity to learn." The other person politely introduced themselves. "We'll guide you both inside." Traveling through a spatial gate must be quite energy-consuming, isn't it? There will be a welcoming reception tonight. All the hunters have gathered here to prepare for the upcoming expedition. We hope you'll both join us. The bright moon hung high in the sky, partially hidden behind slowly drifting clouds. The vast night sky wasn't overly dark, but adorned with a gentle light, emanating from the shimmering lights within the massive structure. Below, there's several guests. We're standing and chatting, enjoying drinks and the lively atmosphere. Suddenly, Jean Sheol spoke up and asked, "Will it be a problem that I can't communicate in English?" What were those people muttering about as they walked by? Jun Jiayong honestly relayed what he had heard. "Some people seemed genuinely happy to see us, but others displayed some pretty blatant prejudice." A loud crash echoed, drawing the attention of everyone around. The group across the way also flinched at the sudden commotion. Demetrius's unexpected arrival caused everyone to show deference and respect. They automatically parted to make way for him. Suddenly, he fixed his gaze in a specific direction. "Who are these two? I've encountered a few fools from Korea before, but why these two brats?" Jun Jiayong and Inchong realized the derogatory words were aimed at them. A hulking figure, at least a head taller than him, loomed over him. "I doubt this one could even withstand a single punch from me. The Korean Association sent these weaklings? Huh? What the hell are you guys? They let. Which fools dared to bring these two brats here?" She glanced over with a wary look. "What is that huge guy babbling about? Doesn't sound like anything pleasant." He broke out in a cold sweat. "Damn it, this is completely different from what I imagined. Some information on the Barthold organization from the Great Warriors of Asgard. It's a clandestine organization backed by South Korea, with global influence and a massive membership, along with other secret organizations. They recruit hunters from around the world as their fighting force. They constantly clash, vying for power and influence in the underworld, as well as control over the dimensional gates. This is the Great War that's been mentioned. The journal states, the goal of protecting humanity by hunting monsters has mysteriously vanished. They had completely lost themselves in the furious vortex of the battle, consumed by a ferocious struggle to prove their absolute dominance. Demetrius glared, his voice menacing. "I asked you a question, and you dare not answer." He looked up, lost in deep thought. "But why is this guy here? He has absolutely nothing to do with this." His confusion was completely justified. The origin of this terrifying war stemmed from Choi Zionsong. Initially, it was Zionsong who provoked them, after he claimed the prestigious title from his victory at the gate. Then, it was he who pierced through his body. He should have participated in this battle under the name Gunzer, but because of his interference, history was altered and Gunzer perished. Finally, it was the fateful encounter with Hyge that completely overturned Odin's meticulous plan. Therefore, he must have sent him here to replace Choi. Zhang Xiang. The name echoed through the stillness. His face immediately darkened. Even the bravest couldn't compare to this guy. Just what was going on? Could this be the consequence of altering the past? Suddenly, a voice called out from behind Dmitri. "Why don't we just let them go?" He unexpectedly stepped back, making way for the newcomer to step forward. George extended a hand. "It's a pleasure to meet you. The honor is all mine to meet the renowned underdog." Hearing this, he couldn't help but look skeptical. Underdog? This kid is underdog? This delusional rookie? George spoke sternly. "Dmitri, you're going too far." He extended a hand in goodwill on Dmitri's behalf. "I apologize to you both. Don't mind the words of this muscle-brained Imbecile. I am George, bearing the renowned title Odysseus. Jack, his heart filled with astonishment at the opponent's sudden appearance. Could this man before him truly be the legendary Odysseus? The ill-fated hero who would be killed by his own comrade, Heracles, in the future? Without hesitation, Jack accepted the friendly handshake. It's an honor to meet you, hero. I've heard so many tales of your glorious exploits, Lord Odysseus. Odysseus responded humbly, You're too kind. I wouldn't dare compare myself to the renowned reputation of the weakling such as yourself. Jack nudged the person beside him. Demetrius, apologize to Odysseus now. Demetrius gave a sly smile. Apologize for a handshake? Really? How amusing, weakling. Contrary to George's goodwill, his intentions seem far from pure. Demetrius, your title of Herculean is laughable. If you dare, you must have heard many stories about my beautiful homeland, Greece, haven't you? His crimson pupils suddenly flashed with a terrifying bloodlust. I would be pleased if you accepted this apology quickly. The ancient book also contains a few brief descriptions of Demetrius. That Hercules, he truly is a monster. He's so terrifying that just facing him is enough to fill anyone with absolute dread. Trang immediately stepped forward, grabbed the girl's arm, and held on tight. She held on so tightly that Demetrius couldn't move. Not only that, but she also loudly warned, Take your hand off her. He clearly didn't accept the apology. He glanced at Trang appraisingly, wondering what she was planning to do. Then he sneered and asked sarcastically, What the hell are you saying? Trang didn't answer him. Instead, she pushed his hand away with increasing force. Witnessing this, George couldn't help but be astonished. His jaw dropped in utter shock, completely unable to believe what he was seeing. She's struggling with Hercules? Suddenly, Demetrius flexed his muscles, using all his strength to resist. Immediately after, she was thrown back by an incredible force. She stumbled backward, struggling to stay on her feet. She stared at her arm in astonishment, tremors still coursing through it. Kang looked ahead anxiously, thinking, was I just pushed back? Dimitri laughed boisterously at her failure. So it seems besides underdog, there's another quite useful player. Impressive. Truly impressive. He smirked. Until we meet again. George bowed his head respectfully. My apologies for this. I'll come to greet you both properly next time. Rapid footsteps echoed. The two had left. Kang remained worried about what had just transpired. Are you alright? A feeling of unease washed over her. Do we really have to defeat someone like him? The Demon King's memoir states that he's an invincible monster. He said dejectedly, It's true, we don't stand chance, but a vulnerability remains. However, he still has a fatal weakness, a flaw that prevents him from reaching the pinnacle of power and ruling the world. So Jun Jiang gave him a warning glare. If we follow tradition, there will be lavish banquets every day, giving members of these secret organizations a chance to meet and mingle, and to truly understand each other's capabilities. The city was unusually quiet and peaceful. However, the underdog team didn't attend any of the parties. A wide gate opened, inviting them inside. The man introduced the place. This is it. Then he praised him. That's incredible. You managed to activate the dungeon, even from overseas. Junji, he replied cheerfully. Those sightseeing trips can wait. However, he added a word of caution. But I'm still a little worried. You should take care of your health for the journey ahead. The crucial dungeon raid is imminent. No matter what, I will always be by your side. Suddenly, a system announcement rang out. You have entered the territory of the Orc tribe. The sponsor is watching you. Immediately, both of them were teleported to a different location. Arriving, he looked at Chong and instructed, We'll stay here until we complete the objective. And if this isn't the right place, we'll attack a similar dungeon. The girl nodded, slightly in agreement with his instructions. Just act like we did back in Korea. Chong smiled in response. Focus on defense. Right, Yoongi. Junji also smiled, speaking with a thoughtful expression. With my current strength, I'm afraid I can't withstand even a single attack from Hercules. That's why your role is so crucial. He turned to leave, not forgetting to add, Wait for me here. His words made Chong exclaim in surprise. Aren't we going together? Jung tilted his head slightly, firmly stating, It's not time yet. Be patient, and you'll understand. I'll be right back. Chong stood frozen, watching Jung's back as he disappeared. She sighed helplessly, looking up at the vast sky, lost in thought. Unlike before, when she was constantly tormented by past mistakes. Now she felt much more at peace. Just then, the system suddenly spoke. Your Prince Charming is sending you a warm smile. In-chong smiled happily, lost in her own thoughts. Even her anonymous sponsor, who previously only sent short, curt messages, oozing with a grumpy disapproval, was now sending messages of satisfaction and praise. I'm truly grateful to him, she thought to herself. Time passed quietly. Jun Jiang, spear in hand, landed forcefully on the ground. Before In-chong could react, he yelled, In-chong, get ready, still reeling from the chaotic scene. A strange creature suddenly dropped from the sky right in front of her. The horror continued as 4 grotesque monsters materialized, preparing to attack. In-chong witnessed the terrifying sight, her heart pounding with fear. Suddenly, dozens of oxer monsters seemed to erupt from the ground, along with a gigantic boss monster. This dungeon, the boss is a 2-headed oxer, she exclaimed in astonishment. Seeing In-chong also frantically running away, Jun Jiang shouted, In-chong, don't try to dodge them. Jun Jiang's words confused In-chong. Why not dodge them? They're all aggressively attacking me, she said worriedly. That's precisely why. Yungiong Komni replied. I told you to use the title Bane of the Oxer, remember? This is the first time, right? He added. Jun Jiang immediately encouraged In-chong. You can do it. I know you can, he affirmed. In-chong gradually understood Jun Jiang's intention and replied. So that's why you told me to bring a bag full of potions. A whole bag full? Exactly, Jun Jiang replied with certainty. She glanced back with a worried look in her eyes. After a moment of hesitation, In-chong gritted her teeth with more determination than ever. She stopped suddenly and turned back. All right, I'll do it, In-chong shouted resolutely, tightening her grip on her sword and charging forward. The oxer, seeing In-chong, roared terrifyingly, trying to frighten her. Jun silently called out Hien-Mu's name. The spear glowed with blue spiritual energy, and Hien-Mu materialized. You summoned me, master? Hien-Mu asked respectfully. He summoned 5 potion bottles, forming a protective circle around himself. Jun solemnly instructed, protect In-chong. Protect her whenever she's in danger. Use the elixir to heal her. As you command, master, Hien-Mu replied with unwavering loyalty. With the task assigned, Jun began to contemplate his next move. With Hien-Mu's help, In-chong would be safe. And now it was time to find a final piece. The key to defeating Hercules. Inferno engulfed everything, scorching the surroundings. The ground below cracked and crumbled. Chaos reigned in a sea of flames. 2 oxers roared in agony as the fire consumed them. A colossal oxer slowly advanced. Witnessing this, he came to a realization. It possessed the ability to extinguish the raging flames. Only by traversing the inferno and subduing it could it be found. The hidden piece, found within the B-rank oxer tribe, was this colossal creature with blazing red eyes. He watched its silhouette with a worried expression. An oxer. A beast that even the most powerful heroes feared. It didn't actually use magic, but later on, people still called it that, because of the terrifying power it possessed. Its massive form towered amidst the desolate ruins. Its name, the Red-Eyed Oxer Magic Master. Song-gu threw open the door, roaring in fury. What do you think you're doing? Just then, someone stepped forward to stop him. Sir, what's the matter? You can't do this here. Hyojin calmly lowered his voice. All right, you can leave. Only the 2 of them remained in the room, facing each other. Unable to hold back any longer, he glared and demanded, What the hell do you think you're doing? CEO Gu softened his tone, a surprised look on his face. You knew all along. I don't understand what you're talking about. Hyojin's answer left him even more bewildered. What are you thinking? He just sighed. A barrier suddenly appeared, encasing them both. Get to the point. Hyojin looked at Seonga cautiously. All right, now we can speak frankly. This isn't the Ask-em meeting room, so you don't need to stand on ceremony, right? He got straight to the point. Did you just establish this rule? Our highest principle is to strive for the benefit of all mankind. So what are we supposed to do now? What should we do? And why are you imposing such trivial and petty regulations? Such insignificant and trifling rules? Hyojin couldn't contain his outrage and shouted, How dare you speak to me with such disrespect? He tried to de-escalate the tension by explaining, I was going to try to reason with you. If it would have changed your mind. But it seems like you're not even listening anymore. Suddenly, an oppressive energy emerged, spreading throughout the surroundings. Radiating a terrifying dark power, he threatened, You insolent brat, I, Lord Gu, only need to utter the name Heracles. Hearing that name, he suddenly recoiled in horror. What? What do you mean? His rage subsided as he began to listen intently. Seeing that Hyojin had calmed down, he reported, I mean Heracles is participating in this elimination round, a battle amongst the most exceptional warriors. That terrifying power had been sealed away. He pondered in deep thought, then questioned. According to the original agreement, we were the victors of this war. So, why is Heracles there? Could it be that Olympus doesn't intend to honor the agreement? Hearing Zeus say that, I couldn't help but be astonished. I assumed he knew about Heracles' participation and sent him there, but the reality is far more serious than I imagined. Stunned, I exclaimed, so you weren't aware either? But something still worried Zeus. He continued, are you going to let him die like that? I thought you cared about him quite a bit. That's why we have to intervene. There's no need to be overly concerned. He reassured me, I don't want him to die either. I truly wasn't ready for things to unfold this way. Hyojin's calm demeanor surprised him. He guaranteed everything would be fine, but I placed a mental constraint on him. If he encounters any danger, the mind control I implemented will immediately send out a warning signal. He let out a sly, cunning chuckle. Olympus violating the treaty will be the perfect excuse to justify our actions. CEO Gu felt a surge of unease, thinking about the old man's cunning. He anticipated this. That mental constraint was established based on Zhang Yun's perspective. I'm not sure if it was a wise move. However, in the current situation, it seems rather useful. There's nothing more I can do to help. But at least some of the burden has been lifted. This brief moment of peace will soon be over. Neither Odin nor Hindu are aware that Odin's mind control has been completely neutralized by the apocalypse. Back to the confrontation between Inchan and Junji. The Oxer monster stood silently watching the house engulfed in flames. It turned its head, scanning for its prey. He picked up a stone, thinking using fire to lure it closer might be worth a try. His mood suddenly brightened. He had figured out why it could become an Oxer master, the crucial piece to fighting against Hercules. Suddenly, the Oxer loomed up behind him, making him jump. Junji whipped around with a startled expression. Since when could it exhale such a powerful gust of air? A earth-shattering explosion suddenly erupted. Junji ran for his life. But in a blink of an eye, it was right behind him. A savage grin spread across his face. He cried out in terror, "Damn it! How is this giant so fast?" Fear surged within him. This monster's strength rivals even Hercules. Can I possibly defeat it? It leaped into the air, raising a foot to crush him. A thunderous boom echoed as the ground beneath cracked open. Luckily, Junji narrowly dodged the attack. He instantly summoned his weapon. His face was cold, his eyes sharp and focused straight ahead. Junji decided to avoid a direct confrontation. He needed to conserve his energy for the upcoming battle with Hercules. But avoiding the fight seemed impossible. I have to defeat him, Junji thought grimly. Seeing Junji motionless, his opponent unleashed a powerful punch. The fist hurtled towards Junji. He calmly raised his spear, ready to meet the attack. Suddenly, the system announced, the gate has been successfully breached. Oxer suddenly froze, his entire body shifting into a strange new color. He stood there, frozen in place. Junji was completely stunned by the sight before him. He breathed a sigh of relief. That was close. Junji felt a sense of reassurance. If he had been injured so severely that even divine medicine couldn't heal him, the consequences would be dire, especially with the important match fast approaching. Fortunately, In Jang had defeated the boss just in time. She truly was a reliable teammate. A peaceful evening descended. Birds soared across the blood-red sky. Ahead, two men were engrossed in conversation. Surprise was evident on Demetrius's face. After that first day, he vanished without a trace. George voiced the thought that had been weighing on his mind. He must be secretly preparing for something. Suddenly, unable to contain himself any longer, he yelled in frustration, "Damn it, I can't sit still anymore. How can I just sit here and not raid the gate or do something?" George calmly turned and explained softly, "No, I don't want another headache because of you. You're the one who caused this mess by interfering in the battle of the great warriors, despite the orders from Olympus." Demi heatedly retorted, "How can you blame me? We could have one." "Why? Surrender on purpose? That's absurd. I'm a warrior. I can't tolerate this injustice." He countered, "Then fight for true justice." Why did you resort to such brutality, sending someone to the hospital? George exclaimed worriedly, sighing in exasperation. You're giving me a killer headache. The match should have started a long time ago. I successfully escaped. But because you showed up at the party on the very first day, I'm certain that Olympus's people are on their way here to punish you for breaking the rules and you for helping him, Demetrios said with a smug and confident air. Don't worry, I'll handle them all. I'll protect you. And besides, that weak little boy, the one who seems capable of holding his own, I'm looking forward to meeting the girl with him. He chuckled to himself, thinking, rarely does an opponent catch my eye like this. He waited with eager anticipation for Underdog and his companion. George's worry grew, exceeding even his own expectations. A sense of unease, like an impending explosion, washed over him. It felt like the terrifying calm before a massive storm. At an apartment, In-chong looked at the young man with a worried expression. Are you going hunting again? Do you need me to come along? She asked, her voice filled with concern. The young man quickly stopped her. No need. You can't. You're really not well right now. In-chong said helplessly, you're the one who put me in this state. The young man just smiled in response. But thanks to you, I've had invaluable experiences. It helped me train physically and increase my endurance. Shall we go one more time? She startled. What did you say? Oh, that? The young man chuckled. I was just kidding. You should rest. I'll go alone today. In-hyong looked at him shyly and said, okay, but if anything happens, call me immediately, okay? The sky was crystal clear and blue. The gentle sunlight stretched over the skyscrapers. Yunki wo pinsiu lu. She must be somewhere near here, a place where I can feel the strongest magical energy. He continued forward, feeling like he was close to his destination. It feels very close now. Suddenly, Junji's eyes flashed a bright red, as if he had discovered something. This is the place, he exclaimed. Junji opened the door and stepped inside. Excuse me for interrupting. Jujin greeted him warmly. Welcome to Phonebox. Seeing her, he exclaimed with joy. Perfect. I'll come to the right place. Jujin observed him with a bright smile. Are you Korean? She asked. There aren't many Koreans living in this area. So what brings you here? I need a special potion, or some kind of magical artifact that can help me fight demons. Junji offered his hand. You're part Jujin, right? A mixture of surprise and annoyance flashed across her face. Yes. You? Are you really AI? I just opened the shop. How do you know my name? He chuckled. Your hammer hasn't broken yet, has it? As he spoke, he thought to himself, Brock's younger sister, a talented blacksmith, whose skills rival, perhaps even surpass Brock's, the renowned master craftswoman. Jujin was taken aback. Did Jaehun send you here? Seeing her reaction, June simply assumed it was a humorous nickname. Someday she will own. A week later, she brought out a completed spear, exactly as he requested. I tempered that crimson ore and coated this spear with it. Muspel. Really? Are you an AI? Jujin stared at him, eyes wide with astonishment. The stone on your spear, and that red or two. I've never seen anything like it. I left my brother, who can't even cook, back home, and traveled all the way to England just to search for precious minerals like these. Minerals this valuable. Even the gods atop Mount Olympus couldn't possess such treasures. Tell me who you are and how you obtain them. Ignoring her question, he said in a firm tone, return to Korea. If you seek such rare minerals and materials, Korea would be a better place to look than here. Eugene was confused. What are you talking about? Just as planned, he thought, a sinister glint in his eyes. If these twins are together, their power will make me unstoppable. A wicked smile spread across his face. Her face hardened as he gloated about Korea. She couldn't hide her displeasure. What are you claiming? That you can possess minerals that even Olympus cannot acquire? How arrogant. But why do you have that intriguing look on your face? I find it quite amusing. Outside the city, a sudden burst of green light erupted. Among the hunters, several figures stood out, cloaked in mystery. Their eyes were cunning, radiating a chilling ruthlessness. George walked toward the group of soldiers. The instructor raised a microphone and announced, the assault is about to begin. Hunters from all corners of the globe, prepare yourselves. Inshang walked alongside Yungu and asked, so we have to fight all these people. The young man shook his head. Not all of them. Even though this is a battle between powerful warriors, some don't care about winning. Furthermore, clearing the dungeon is one of the conditions for victory. The girl said joyfully, that's great. That means the hunters Don't need to senselessly slaughter each other. Jungyu looked at her with worry. Only when he saw someone who shared her sentiment did he softly say, I'm not so sure. Suddenly, a loud explosion rocked the air. Demetrios approached them, sneering, just a bunch of insignificant ants. Everyone was terrified at the sight of him. Demetrios roared furiously. What the hell are you all looking at? He was about to attack, but George stopped him. Demetrios, we haven't even entered the gate yet. He turned back with a scowl. But those weaklings keep staring at me. Anyway, he points it at Yunku. That weakling is here. He glanced sideways, seeing the expression on Jun Jiayong's face only fueled his amusement. I like the look on your face. It's utterly thrilling. Demetrios said mockingly, good luck. Hearing his wish, Jun Jiayong's disdain was evident. The instructor began to gather everyone. Please enter the gate. They quickly followed each other inside. The young man anxiously looked towards a girl. Inchong, hearing Jun Jiayong call her name, quickly responded. His expression turned serious as he instructed. When we get inside, you need to run. Run as fast as you can. Inchong looked surprised. What? You want me to run away? A notification appeared. You have entered the Catalan Mountain Gate. In the distance, on Catalan Mountain, an object suddenly began to glow. Then boom, a terrifying explosion erupted. Then blood-curdling screams echoed. Kang raised her sword in defense. Her eyes darted around nervously. What's going on? He warned me to run, she thought. She used her speed to dash forward, but suddenly stopped. She saw a man lying motionless on the ground. He weakly whispered, help me. Jun Jiayong's words suddenly echoed in her mind. When we get inside, you need to run immediately. Despite his warning, she ignored it and continued moving. Kang gave the man a dose of healing potion. What happened? She asked. He suddenly collapsed unconscious after drinking it. She was speechless. What the hell is going on? Suddenly, Kang glanced back and managed to block Demetrius' attack. The two forces collided violently. Demetrius emerged from the thick smoke. Oh ho, so you blocked it? Injang watched him anxiously, his hand gripping his sword tightly. Then she thought to herself, Demetrius, an attack even stronger than the Oxer monster. He let out a smug laugh. You're the one traveling with Underdog. Ha ha ha, I'm so glad I decided to get involved in this. A massive plume of smoke erupted from the middle of the forest. The ferocious attack tore through the air, sending dirt and debris flying everywhere. An immense energy enveloped Demetrius. He clenched his fist, preparing to unleash a devastating blow. Inchong dodged just in time. The terrifying force hurtled forward. She gripped her sword and quickly sidestepped. Crimson energy erupted violently, scorching the ground where she had just been standing. Inchong turned back, her eyes wide with terror. This terrifying power. What is it? Demetrius had no intention of stopping. Another attack came immediately after. He scoffed. What's wrong? Cat got your tongue? She quickly raised her violet sword, blocking the attack, defending. Demetrius' ferocious magic power collided with the blade, creating an earth-shattering explosion. Witnessing the chaotic scene before him, he let out a cold laugh. Watch closely. The thick dust slowly cleared, revealing a figure. Injang, standing firm, gripping her sword tightly against the terrifying pressure. A mouthful of black blood sprayed from her lips, followed by a silent exclamation. Truly destructive power. My entire body is trembling. Each vertebra feels like it's about to shatter. But thanks to relentless training, I was able to withstand that terrifying attack. Bracing herself with a hand on the ground, Injang crouched down, her sword raised high. The power emanating from her cracked the surrounding ground, sending debris flying. Now it's my turn to counterattack, she thought. Dimitri was still focusing his magic power, preparing for his next attack. He smirked. I heard you were a hunter, but hasn't officially been given the title. Unbelievable. Do you think you're lucky enough to withstand this attack of mine? Crimson magic swirls and converges, forming a furious vortex. The form of a gigantic tiger gradually materializes within the magical vortex. Savage beast. A roaring, fiery tiger bullet appears in midair. It hurtles down towards Inchang's position, but suddenly explodes in midair. The unexpected event leaves her stunned. As if realizing something, she quickly turns her head to look behind her. Jun Jiayong is already standing there. He says coldly, we need to run. Now, the two of them sprint in the opposite direction, the ground behind them suddenly erupting in a massive pillar of fire. Demetrios emerges from the thick smoke. He clicks his tongue. Tisk, such lush trees, blocking out even the brilliant sun. Incheon hurriedly recounts the entire event to Jun Jiaeyeon. The moment we stepped through the gate, a terrifying explosion occurred. Many hunters were trapped and lost their lives. She asks, bewildered, "What the hell is going on?" He explained, "It was an ambush." Incheon asked in astonishment, "So Demetrios, really?" Jun Jiaeyeon interrupted her. "Wouldn't it be the other way around?" The moment we stepped through the gate, they immediately ambushed Demetrios. That's why he flew into a rage and attacked so ferociously. She realized, so that's what happened. So, he anticipated this, and that's why he urged me to leave. Suddenly, he looked in a certain direction. "Looks like it's about 1/3 complete." The girl said dumbfoundedly, It's done already." Incheon anxiously analyzed his attack patterns. "I don't think I can confront him directly. So what do we do now?" Jun Jiaeyeon summoned his sword and shield, saying, "From now on." His eyes suddenly flashed. He sternly instructed his teammates, "Let's survive and return from this A-rank gate." Savage growls echoed continuously. A pack of wild beasts were lurking, waiting for their prey. Catalan lions, A-rank monsters, he reminded her in a low voice. After all, Demetrius isn't our only threat. Hyunmoo suddenly appeared in the air, circling as if assessing the situation, while Kang was diligently piling stones. He returned to report, "There's no sign of any hunters around." Junkie instructed, "Continue searching the surrounding areas. If you encounter any trouble, return immediately." The other replied, "Understood." He turned and said, "Let's go, Zhang Yinkang." She replied, "Wait a moment." She stood silently, her gaze fixed on the simple stone graves. Junkie watched quietly, thinking to himself, "Hyunmoo is surveying the surroundings. So I didn't stop her. But she's definitely the strangest person in the world, burying the remains of the enemy." After finishing, she turned and asked, "You said we have 2 days to win this major battle, right? So how do you plan to confront the final boss? Or should we focus on the all-out war?" He analyzed, "The final boss must be incredibly strong. With just the 2 of us, I'm afraid it will be very difficult to defeat it." She agreed. "That's true. But wasn't Demetrius even stronger?" And Kang asked worriedly, "What should we do now? Do you have a plan?" "You guessed it. We will have the last laugh.